first in the name of the Right Honourable Chris Hipkins.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. Does he stand by all of his government statements and actions?
Yes, and especially our action to deliver modern, reliable infrastructure for New Zealand. I was absolutely thrilled on Monday to announce alongside the Minister of Transport, Simeon Brown, that work had started on our government's first road of national significance this week, which of course is the Hawke's Bay Expressway. Roads of national significance have made a massive difference for local economies, whether that's the Waikato Expressway or the Kapiti Expressway, and now that's coming to the Hawke's Bay. The good news is that early works are starting now, and that will bring forward the time of completion by 12 to 15 months, ensuring that the project is delivered faster so that Kiwis see the benefits sooner. It's all part of our plan to rebuild the economy and get New Zealand back on track. And Mr Speaker, given the recent remarks, it would be remiss of me not to acknowledge the Thames Valley Swamp Foxes for their win in the Meads Cup on the weekend as well. Thank you.
Supplementary question.
The House is just a little bit too rowdy. Yeah, Right Honourable Chris Hipkins.
Why does a minister in his government calling somebody a loser for working late and telling him to, quote, take some wine and F off, not warrant any formal sanction from him as Prime Minister?
Well, as I've said publicly, I was disappointed in the Minister's conduct. It didn't meet my standards. It didn't meet the standards of what we expect from ministers. But he has subsequently genuinely apologised, acknowledged the wrong, and assured me it won't happen again.
Supplementary. Is he confident that Andrew Bailey had not consumed any alcohol when he berated an export worker for the very fact that he was working? And if not, will he commit to removing Mr Bailey's ministerial warrant if it's proven that he indeed was under the influence of alcohol when he behaved inappropriately?
Look, the Minister accepts that his behaviour was not acceptable and he accepts the overall account of the events. I understand the member has a fellow colleague who's asking a direct question to the Minister and I'm sure he'll give a fulsome answer to that question on notice.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order.
That was not the question that I asked him. I asked him whether he was confident that Andrew Bailey had not consumed any alcohol, and if it was proven that he had, whether he would remove his ministerial warrant.
Well, if the question had been that precise, might have got a more precise answer, but Prime Minister might want to add to his answer.
I understand the Minister was not impacted by alcohol when he had the interaction with the individual in concern. But again, the member has a colleague who's asking a question of the Minister. I'm sure he'll give a very fulsome account.
Supplementary question. Had Andrew Bailey visited a brewery immediately prior to the business visit where he called a warehouse worker a loser, made L signs on his forehead and told him to F off and go home?
Well, as I've said, the Minister has accepted that his behaviour was unacceptable and fell short. He's actually apologised to the person concerned. He's apologised to me and reassured me it won't happen again.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Yeah, okay, and I think, repeat the question.
Had Andrew Bailey visited a brewery immediately prior to the business visit where he called a warehouse worker a loser, made L signs on his forehead and told him to F off and go home?
Point of order.
I'm not aware of that.
Point of order, the Honourable Winston.
Mr Speaker, if you follow that question very carefully, it's loaded with innuendo and it's also confusing. Because when he finished the question, you weren't certain whether it was the first event he was talking about or the second one. And a bit of straight common sense and logic would be very helpful for those of us trying to follow the question.
Yeah, well, perhaps I've got a fuzzy logic because I understood it quite clearly. Right Honourable Chris Hipkins.
Supplementary. Thank you, Mr Speaker. Did Andrew Bailey inform him that a formal complaint had been made about his conduct during an official ministerial visit when the complaint was received, or did he find out when the complainant distributed the complaint more widely?
As I said, the Minister was notified that he'd called insult and hurt to the person involved. He apologised immediately, thought the issue was resolved. Clearly it wasn't, and the first I heard about it was on Thursday.
Supplementary question. Why didn't Andrew Bailey apologise directly to the worker who made the complaint until the complainant raised the issue with the Prime Minister, instead including his initial apology in a letter to the worker's employer thanking them for his visit?
Well, in that letter, when it was brought to his attention, he passed on his sincere apologies to the worker. He's also subsequently sent a letter directly to the individual concerned offering to meet, either by telephone or in person. That, of course, is up to the complainant to determine whether they wish to accept that offer or not. What's important for me is that he's acknowledged that he got it very wrong. He's apologised both to me and to the complainant, and importantly, he's given me assurances it will not happen again.
Supplementary question. How can he have confidence in Andrew Bailey if he hasn't even asked him basic questions about exactly what happened that led to a warehouse worker feeling, quote, degraded, embarrassed and deeply disrespected in front of my colleagues, end quote?
Well, as the Minister has said, and as I have said, he has acknowledged the hurt and insult that he has caused. His remarks were wrong, and that's what we have talked about, and we've gone through that account on Friday. He has apologised and he's assured us it won't happen again.